doing this is because nobody else was. I was quite surprised to find there wasn't a Hustings, so but I'll organise one. I've done it before actually in Ayrshire when I came from. I found it quite an enjoyable experience. I've never actually organised before, I've chaired it before. Right, okay, what I've got to say. Right, I think Hustings are important because it's a good chance for you to talk to them and ask penetrating questions, hopefully. We've got 8 out of the 9 candidates here. Chris Lambert is unfortunately working, and he did try to change his shift very hard, but he couldn't, so he sends his apologies. But I think 8 out of 9 is pretty good. 7. Sorry, 7. Stephen Johnson hasn't turned up. Right, so it's only 7. I hadn't noticed he wasn't here. Okay, so there's 7. Right, the first thing I think it's fair is to decide in the order up. Talking to the devil. Give some time. Approach, if possible. Try not to get too personal. We're talking about policies rather than individuals. Third thing is, it is a local government election. It's quite confusing because some issues are Scottish government issues and some others are local government issues. And there is a big overlap, I know. For example, the ferry, whether Dunoon should have 2 new vehicle carrying ferries is actually a decision of the Scottish Government. But I'm advised that I should allow some time for the ferry discussion. I don't want it to dominate the hustings, as it could easily, so I tend to allocate the first 10 minutes for ferry questions. That's all right, the candidates, the first 10 minutes for ferry questions. Questions from the audience. When you ask a question, could you indicate who you're asking it to? Is it to all the candidates, or is it to Lewis or Bruce or whatever? If you could try and indicate, please. I think that's basically all I have to say at this point. I think we'll just ask if anyone's got any questions. Russell, to start. Or Russell Weir. And I'll have to say, who's Russell again? Russell again. Right. Okay, you ready to go, Russell? Let's start you off for 3 minutes. Okay, if you just introduce yourselves, say who you represent, a party or not. Okay? Right, go for it.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Russell Weir. I've been a local resident in Dunoon for 60 years. Born and brought up, educated in Dunoon, Foot Street, Kirn Primary, and attended Dunoon Grammar School. Education is very important to me and obviously to the community. I stand as an independent candidate. I don't have any affiliation to any political party. My only interests are the local community and the best interests of our area. I've been very proud to represent the Cowal area in my professional capacity as a golf professional, and I've travelled to many parts of the world, and to me there is no finer place in the world than our local area. So therefore it's very important to me that the environment and everything about our local community is respected and cared for. This is my first time standing as an independent candidate, and I really just get the local community and Dunoon and Cowal area at heart, and I just like to do the best I can for the area. I don't really know if you want to ask me any questions as I go along.
No, I prefer if you wait till...
All right, till after. So really, I'm just going to keep it quite short to let you know of my being local, and my interests are in the community, and that's really all I can say at this particular time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Russell. Call on Alec McNaughton.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I think you probably all know that I'm one of the present councillors representing Cowal, and I think over the the last 5 years I've worked really hard to represent the ward. I was, now I probably don't need to tell you this because I'm quite sure you'll all have read what I've put out in the leaflet and that. But I'll tell you that I was born in Cowal, brought up in Glenveruel actually, and which is just next door, and educated in Glenveruel and in Grammar. I've lived and worked and socialised all my days in Cowal, so I feel that I know exactly the desires and needs of the community, because you know I've worked in every corner of Cowal with my as a roadman with the council over 25 years. I've always thought that there's a criteria that a councillor should abide by. There's several elements of that, but one of the main things is that he should know his people, and his people should know him. And I think that an approachable councillor is a great thing, because I can be contacted anytime, and I'm spoken to all the time, and I socialise with people quite easily, and people find it very easy to come to me and speak to me if they have any problems. So I will be carrying on in the positive way I have done over the past 5 years, and I just hope that you will see me as a good candidate in the forthcoming election. Thank you.
That's very confusing with two Chris's. Chris Talman.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chris Talbot. I live in Sandbank. The first thing though is I want to thank you actually for coming out tonight. There's probably some things on the telly, but to come along and see your candidates and grill us, if you chose to do that, is good. So who am I? I've been in Sandbank for 7 years and been in Argyll for 10 years. I served in the Royal Navy for over 32 and a half years before retiring, it's about 5 years ago, to start a degree with the University of the Highlands and Islands in Sustainable Rural Development. That degree I finished in about 2.5 years' time. And I think it's trained me, opened my eyes, and enlightened me to what is required in rural communities. And Cowal is one of those communities. Between my 3rd and 4th year, I took a year out and became the Vice President of the Students' Association, or maybe the Students' Union, as you may know it. And that was responsible for some casework and academic interactions for over 8,000 students, from Shetland to Campbelltown, and from Stornoway to Perth. A real mix of large towns, the rest of the city, but mainly small rural and island communities. I've been involved in Sandbank Bute Council for 5 years. Various roles. I'm currently the treasurer. Those roles have included working with planning, trying to resolve issues locally with the Argyll and Bute planners, a bit of fundraising, campaigning for road resurfacing. You see new roads in Sandbank, the main road and the high road. Okay, that's not all my work, but it was part of the nagging process to get the council to invest in Sandbank's roads. Sandbank C is our journal, I occasionally write for that. Basically just getting stuck in to local community life. What I want to be, if you elect me, is a voice for all the Cowal residents. At the moment, the multi-member ward system of 3 members is not working how it's designed to work. It's carved into 3, and there's no cross-boundary work with the current councillors. In my view, that's the feedback I get from the street. I see rural areas as a mosaic. There's 5 things that are really important. They've got to interact together. The first one is schools, it's public transport, it's health, and in that includes social services, it's jobs, and it's housing. If you lose any one of those, they become shaky, it's fragile, you start to lose the community fabric. We've got to fight really hard, whoever you elect, to make sure that this fabric is maintained with strength and we can take Cowal forward. Finally, I just want to give you some feedback.
Could you start winding down?
Yeah, and we go.
Just about now. Nothing now. Okay.
Mr Chairman, good evening ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to say first of all thank you very much to Dave for organising this Hustings tonight. First Hustings I've ever attended in the 15 or 16 years I've been involved in trying to become elected. I shouldn't say politics because we independents aren't political. We are here to do the best for people of Argyll, people of Cowal and Argyll and Bute without any party dogma forcing us along a certain path. I'm currently spokesperson for the environment in Argyll and Bute and Cowal area chairman. I am director of the Borough Hall Trust. I'm chairman of Crossroads. I attend both Sandbank Community Development Trust and Command Community Development Trust regularly, and I also attend 3 community councils absolutely without fail unless there's something really wrong. There are about 9 or 10 community councils in the area. Can't attend them all, so we try to farm them out between us. I do 3 and I do 1 or 2 others where I can. Like all the other candidates who are going to be speaking and have spoken tonight, I care deeply about Argyll, Scotland, but in particular Cowal. And I have worked for the past 13 years as a councillor to that end, to the end that the Cowal area is a good environment to live in, it's a prosperous environment, and people would want to come and stay here, and I believe they do. We are carrying out a survey just now in the Command Community Development Trust area, and the surveys that come back, time and again, when people say, when we ask the question, what do you like about this area? What do you like about this area? They all say the environment, the safety, the scenery, the beauty. There are so many comments like that. If re-elected, I'll continue to work as I have. I put in a huge number of hours per week, not just as many as the leader of the council. He does probably between 80 and 100. I often do 60. I have done 80. An average week is probably 40 to 50. But we councillors have to work so much harder than when I was first elected. In those days we had secretaries to write our letters and do our mail. Nowadays we do it all ourselves on the dreaded laptop, and we receive dozens. Probably I receive about 50 emails a day. I asked the leader of the council how many he receives a day. He can't count them. It's probably in the region of 500. How he copes with it, I don't know. But it's a hard job, it's not easy, and if you're going to do it successfully, you really got to put your back into it. Anyway, if re-elected, I would continue to do what I do, as I have been doing for the past 13 years. Thank you.
And thanks to all of you for coming along this evening. It's a really good turnout, and I'm delighted to be here with all the other candidates. I'm Gordon Blair. I'm 54 years of age. I've lived in Sandhaven in Sandbank for the past 17 plus years. Prior to that, I commuted across from Gourock using the ferry service into the Gourock town centre. I'm married with 2 daughters, and we are delighted to be in Argyll and Bute. Came here as a child, and as many folk, I'm a white settler, or maybe a grey settler, not a white settler. I think there are various colour changes, but I'm a grey settler here. And I remember being asked at a community council meeting, what are you bringing to the area? What are you investing in the area? And of course, I'm investing my children in this area. They've been educated and they're progressing into higher education now, and that's because of the great education system that we have here in Argyll and Bute. I've worked for 35 years in local government, starting off in the Strathclyde Regional Council, moving on to James Watt College in Greenock as Registrar and Clerk to College Council, then moving to Argyll and Bute Council in education, dealing with the higher school bursaries. I then dealt with school transport. We introduced the yellow buses to Argyll and Bute following grant applications. And then I moved on to the Renfrewshire Council, and I was there for 7 years dealing with things like freedom of information, performance management for roads, planning and economic development. And it was there that it suddenly struck me that really, in a sense, the people in Argyll and Bute are being shortchanged. It was a complete change in attitude with Renfrewshire Council, one of the top performing councils, It was a delight, and it was a delight to work in all my jobs, but it was a delight even to be in Renfrewshire, where people had a certain amount of vision, a bit of get up and go, and an opportunity to explore and transform the services, the delivery of service to you and to the taxpayers and council taxpayers in Renfrewshire. I was involved with freedom of information when I started on the 10th of January 2005. I was handed a folder and told this was it, this came into being on the 1st of January 2005, get on with it. So I'm extremely keen on openness, transparency. We have to know what the officials are doing. We have to take them to task if they're not doing things properly. If we're looking at performance figures, and I've got one or two with me we'll maybe discuss later, I want to know why Argyll and Bute isn't at the top of the league table as opposed to being at the bottom in so many issues. There's lots of opportunities here in Argyll and Bute. I love Argyll and Bute. I've been all over Argyll and Bute when I worked here. I know the realities of a rural environment, the realities of closing schools, and that effect on the communities. So I'm very pleased to be here this evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lewis MacDonald and I'm the Conservative candidate for the local election. I am local. I was sort of born and bred in the Cowal Peninsula, spent all my education here at Argyll Primary and then at Dunoon Grammar School. I then went on to the University of Glasgow and completed a law degree. Yeah, I'm one of them, sorry. My main points that I would like to bring in if I was elected as a candidate, the first area that I think needs to be concentrated on is that we need to focus on providing jobs for the local area. There needs to be a wider variety of jobs available, and the council needs to be doing everything that it can to encourage that. I'm not ashamed to say that I want Cowal and wider Argyll and Bute to be a prosperous area to live in, and by that I don't mean I want people to come in and force the locals out. I mean I want to make the people that already live here richer than they are now. I'm not ashamed to say that at all. I think as well that the only way to address the problem of demographics that we face at the moment is to encourage more people, more young families to come here and bring in some sort of new life into the area. And in terms of doing that, I think if you look at the condition of the roads, well, I mean, we all know what they're like. Potholes everywhere. When the repair job gets done, there's some chips thrown down in the road for the cars to drive over and you to do the job for the council yourselves. I don't think that's good enough, to be quite frank. Infrastructure has to be one of the most important areas for any local authority. We're not able to do it ourselves, so the council has to do that on our behalf. And also, I've made the point that without good roads, how can we ask people to move here and set up a company, set up a business, employ people? How can we ask tourists to get in their cars and come here and visit our shops and our businesses and our hotels? They're just not going to, because they drive into here and their suspension system is shot after about a week. And finally, I would say that one of the main areas that I'm quite concerned about and would like to do something about is the education system that we have here. Currently, we're facing the problem of the amalgamation of the schools in Dunoon, and I know people will say this is the Cowal ward, this isn't Dunoon. However, I don't think that we can be as short-sighted as think that that won't affect us here in Cowal. What happens there will spill over here, and I'm seriously concerned that we're going to lose this community feeling that we have of small rural schools, and it's going to turn into a large, baseless urban school. And I think children will stop being names known to their teachers and they'll start being a number, and I'm completely against that. And finally, I think also the problem at Dunoon Grammar School. Dunoon Grammar School has very poor exam results at the moment, and when we are facing a far more competitive world in terms of employment for our young people, we need to do everything that we can in order to get them the best possible education in Argyll and Bute. Thank you very much.
My name's John Simon, I'm standing for the SNP. And I'd like to start by thanking Dave on two fronts. First of all, for arranging us at short notice when he found out no one else was doing it, and second of all, for managing to organise an event in Cowal that's not running a Champions League football night, so that there is actually an audience. And thank you all for coming here, because you're engaging with this process means that we all have something in common, both you guys and the people on the platform here, and that is that we all want the very best for Cowal. We might have slightly different ideas about how we go about it, but we all have the same ambition, and that is that Cowal can be the best that it possibly can be. from my own journey and how I got here, well, I was always interested in politics, but I've got 3 sons. Well, that's not fair. My wife and I have 3 sons. She had a part in it too. We have 3 sons, and as they were growing up, going through secondary school, I began to take more of an interest in local politics because I was looking at the sort of challenges they would be facing as they became young adults. Lewis touched on something earlier on about population and about young people. In the last 10 years or so, up to 2011, population of Argyll and Bute has declined by 2.3%, and that's projected to continue. And really, we just can't carry on with that rate of decline. We're losing our young people, and there's certain issues that have to be there for our young people. It's not just losing young people, it's being able to attract other young families, or even attract back our young people after they've gone on to further education or whatever, and even if possible to give them that education here in Argyll would be even better. To keep these young people and retain these young people, we need a combination of things. Housing, training and job opportunities are the 2 key ones. Housing is very, very difficult. Now, I believe that we can offer housing, we can invest in housing for young people, and I believe we can do all this at the same time as manage this sort of special environment that we have here in Cowal, because Cowal is very special to all of us, and those special qualities mean that it's a special place, and I think the 2 can go in tandem. So I'm not talking about a huge explosion of development, but something getting the wind up already. I'm not talking about a huge explosion of development, but something we'll manage. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
My name is Stephen Johnson. I moved to Argyll about 20 years ago. The education was poor, the transport system were poor. I've been an activist for years to improve road services, bus services, and now lately they're shouting about the ferry services. And I think in the last 4 years, Cowal's actually went down the hill under the present administration. And I think it's time to fight, stand together, to have the people. If I have used people there, we will make a difference. But I need you to support me so we can change things. The Cowal Hospice is a disgrace the way it was closed. They're bringing in voluntary drivers. Appleton didn't have a voluntary driver to take patients to the Beatson Hospital. I was contacted. I became a voluntary driver 2 years ago. And I think people that's got the cancers should actually be, someone could be treated in Dunoon to stop being transferred to the Beatson. They could treat them for a year. Our hospitals were failing down the hill. The ferry is a big issue. It is a disgrace. There's major issues here, but I need the people to help it. Because this present administration we have, if you stick by them, this town will sink. That's all I'd like to say, please. Thank you.
I'm Susanna Wright. I live in Blairmore. I use the ferry every day to go to work. I work in Inverclyde. And since the ferries changed to the passenger-only ferries in June of last year, being able to get to work has been a real difficulty, particularly during the winter months. It's been cancelled huge amounts of times. And myself and a lot of the other workers and students that go over to James Watt College are often stranded on this side, not being able to even get over to the western where there is no transport links into the main town centre. Now, we've talked a lot about regenerating the area and looking at the fact that we don't have now decent ferries and we don't have a vehicle ferry. The vehicle ferries have helped regenerate the town centre. And what I'm looking for is I want from each of the members of the panel very quickly to tell me in words of one syllable what they're going to do if they get elected to help us regain our ferry service that we should have in Dunoon.
I'll just let anybody come in, whatever order they want. Okay?
I think your elected councillors should work with themselves as a team in Cowal, so Cowal Dunoon, and pressure Argyll and Bute Council is to get behind them, galvanise themselves and start asking some serious questions of the Scottish Government to deliver what they're supposed to deliver. I could go into the faults, but I won't. There just needs to be a lot of effort to get the government to focus and start investing in Cowal. That applies to some roads as well.
Bruce, another thing.
Yeah, well, Chris has just said what we're actually doing just now. We've met with the government we've met with the government constantly over the last 5 years, and you know what's happened. We've got no vehicular ferry service into Dunoon. We were let down. But what you said we should do, we are doing, Chris. We're actually meeting with the government, met with the ministers a month ago, actually in March, and the minister's promised action. He's gone away with a 3-point plan to look at accessing a vehicular ferry for us. In the meantime, replacing the alley cat, which is substandard, and that is going, and also improving facilities at the pier for these ferries we have just now. So it's happening.
Can I ask Mr. Marshall?
Well, I think the lady wanted to put each member of the panel to answer.
It's relevant because.
Well, let's let each member of the panel answer. Then I'll come back to you. Stephen.
I think the talking's over, folks, and I really think we should actually start with peaceful protests on the Alicat boats or any ferry we're going to. You can talk all you want. The truth just says there, we've spoke for 5 years. The days are over. And with the last sailing sailed from Dunoon, I genuinely believed the people that was on that ferry, they shouldn't have been waving. They should have held that as a protest and refused to get off that boat until somebody done something. So the talk, it's finished. As far as I'm concerned, the people stand by me, I'll stand by them, and we'll take the ferry to them. Thank you.
Yeah,
Gordon.
I was just want to say I'm on the Dunoon Gourock Ferry Action Group along with Susanna and Mike, and the reality is there was a meeting in the Queen's Hall where 400 folk sat and debated and took to task the politicians. And interestingly enough, there were a lot of people there saying, I've been fighting for this for 15 years and I've been fighting for this for 20 years. And that's true enough, because it's been consecutive bureaucrats, the way I'm looking at it, it's bureaucrats who have continuously messed up this whole setup. The Dunoon Gourock Ferry Action Group, there was a whole lot of experts available on it. They've got the finger on the pulse as far as Transport Scotland, taking them to task. And the group is taking them to task on some of the things that come out. We've had 2 meetings so far with Alex Neil. Now, there's some...
We're actually gone 5 minutes until 10,
So I'm hopeful, as an SNP prospective candidate for Cowal Ward, that we get this issue resolved. We have to get this issue resolved. There's issues on economic development, there's issues in regeneration, there's a wider issue of, well, we need 2 new boats, let's build them up the Clyde. That's the reality of it. I mean, if we're talking about people getting back to work, we need to have proper vehicle access. If I want to go hopscotch, I have to go to come to the gateway to the Highlands in Dunoon, I have to go via Rothsay. That's not right with my car. I don't think so. We should be doing it town centre.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everyone here and all the candidates here are in total agreement. It's just not on the Dunoon ferry. It's just substandard, and I mean, I've been on it, and it's just a dreadful boat. It just doesn't feel safe, for one thing. We have been shortchanged all the time, and it's a funny thing. Cowal seems to always suffer. You know, it's almost treated as a backwater. It doesn't really matter. We'll just leave them. They've got Western ferries. They can use that, and that's us. You've got no option then. You've got no choice. Once again, we've got no choice of the ferries. It's just not good enough, and really, the Scottish Government has let us down very, very badly in that. And it's not through lack of effort from the present council. I have to say, I have to take some of the candidates up on that. We have put in a massive effort to try and get the resolution to that ferry.
Okay, thank you. Ron?
Yeah, I would agree with Alec there. This is something that all the councils worked hard together, certainly in the 5 years, approaching 5 years that I've been there. Worked very hard together and very closely together to try and bring about a solution that we wanted, and I can assure you, what was imposed, I was as disappointed as anybody, because I really had put my faith in others to deliver that. As the whole community did, they kept telling us they would, and it didn't come about. So yes, I'm disappointed, but we are who we are, and I think we have to continue to work hard to try and build on what's there and bring about the improvements that the people want. People have spoken quite clearly as to what they want. It's our job as their community representatives, and if elected to continue at that, to deliver what the people want. I'm pledging to do that.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Liz?
Hey, yeah, well, I know it's been said already that obviously ferries is an issue for the Scottish Government, but I think that councillors are still your representatives, and that should count for absolutely anything. There's a problem in your area, we should be fighting for you. And in terms of, I know obviously you've put a lot of work into talking to the Scottish Government, but I think really the Argyll and Bute Council needs to become such a thorn in the Scottish Government's side. It needs to be constantly, any little thing that they slip up, you need to be at their throats. If they make an agreement and they break it, you should be taking them to courts. You might not win, but what you need to do is to make yourself such an annoyance that it becomes easier just to give you the votes. I mean, like you mentioned about the fact that we are this sort of black hole when it comes to the map of Scotland. Like, why aren't we on the road equivalent tariff? Like, why doesn't that apply to Dunoon, but it applies to the other Clyde Islands and everywhere else? I mean, we really need to start annoying people every single day that they're in their office until they just want to get rid of us and they just give us what we want. So I think that's what I do. Thank you.
Okay, can I go back to this gentleman and your turn?
It doesn't matter, thank you.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
My question.
Gentleman.
My premise in this is that Gordon Blair's mentioned the shipyard Ferguson's, and if Ferguson had the contract to build 2 ro-ros, whereas the Polish were given subsidies, the boats would have been here by now, and that's all to do with the European Parliament, nothing to do with the Scottish Parliament.
Who else? What? Someone else put their hands up? Yes.
Well, I'm going to ask these gentlemen, because there are all gentlemen, there's no ladies present, what their views of the past of the ferry have been. I mean, Mr. Marshall, have you always supported the ferry?
Absolutely.
From the very beginning?
Absolutely.
Yes. And not just you, but I'm wondering if you all have supported the ferry in the past, or have any of you not?
I think if you've utilised the ferry, if you've travelled from Gourock, as I did in the early days when I was working here, I stayed in Gourock and I travelled across. And then when I've stayed here and I've travelled up to Paisley, it's that integrated transport that we need. I mean, you want to come off the boat and get onto a bus, you want to come off the boat and not have to break sweat running for a train.
There's more to it, though, isn't there? Because the other ferry covers you in water in certain circumstances, sea water. So you get back and you have to wash your car. It's as simple as that.
Well, there's issues with disability.
A month ago, I was planning, head of planning in Argyll, and the conditions which were attached to the planning permission were really numerous. There were a lot of conditions, and the developers have to meet these conditions before a paper can be signed. They haven't signed anything. They haven't got to the stage where these conditions will be met. Once they've got the supermarket will be built, if a developer is prepared to come in and do it.
Yeah, well, they might have moved off to the Chinese side, yeah, and I think that's what they came with.
Does anyone else want to come in? Supermarket? And then the audience? Right, so you want to ask a question, sorry.
Yeah, my name is Mick Rice and I live in Blairmore, and my question is to all of the candidates. Am I right in assuming that they're going to vote for themselves as number 1 on polling day? And if so, will they be using their second and third preference votes? And if so, how will they cast them?
Start at the end, do you want to come in? Russell.
That's a private.
He's entitled to ask, but they are not entitled to mess with the answer. Russell.
Secret ballot if you can tell everybody.
Can I put my name on the 3 vote? No, really, I'm not sure about that. I'm in mind up yet. But certainly will vote for myself.
I'll answer it. I have made my mind up, and I will put in the 1, 2 and 3. And the order could be 2, 1 and 3, or 3, 2, 1, or 1, 3, 2.
We have nine opportunities. You could go up as far as 9. I was in 2. No, I've actually sent a proposal on the way, and I put 3 candidates down, not telling you who they are.
One's yourself, surely, so you don't need to tell us two.
I'll be doing 1, 2, 3 because we need to. I've seen some signs up first for this and first for that. We need a team. There needs to be a team of councillors moving this part of Cowal on, and whatever 1 or whatever 3 of this team here will all be championing it to make sure they move Cowal on. And that's what we're doing. So 1, 2, 3, whatever 1, 2, 3 you like. Obviously not 1. You suit yourself.
Just a point of information, there's 9 candidates for 3 seats. Not everyone's aware of that. 9 candidates for 3 seats. Ron, do you want to
I'm quite simply doing 2. My first and second vote are going to the SNP, so you can work out for yourself which one was 1.
I'm going to exercise my democratic right in the nation's secret ballot not to answer your question.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember in my history class at school that there was a bit of a thing about secret ballots, and it used to be that you would come to a big place like here and you would all raise your hand if you would watch you. And that was one of the sort of big factors in us becoming a modern democracy, was having a secret ballot. So, same thing.
Yeah, nothing more to add. I mean, it's a secret ballot. I wouldn't be answering that.
Sorry, I think Sue had wanted to come in.
Yes, I would like to